right, welcome everybody to another episode of Banter on the Rocks. We got Tim here, John, Pina, myself. Um, and first order of business, as always, we discuss our brand ambassadorship, and we are brand ambassadors with Find a Good. Find the Good is focused on finding the good and building a community of people who want to help find the good. So for all your purchases, Find a Good gives back 10% to Mental Health of America organization. So when you order and use our promo code Banter805, you will receive 10% off your purchase. So that's 10% for you, 10% back to mental health. So remember to use the code Banter805 for that 10% off. And the mission for Find the Good is simple. Find the Good is here to get you through the bad days, the breakups, the ups and downs, and whatever else stands between you and a smile on your face. And I will say, college football started. I think it's a good time, you got to find the good every now and then, especially if your team lost, like Texas, the number one team losing.
Yep,
Let's find the good still. It's early on in the season.
absolutely. Yeah, no, UCLA fans,
UCLA.
not a good start, even with the new QB.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stanford fans, same
And
thing.
that's a QB we could talk about because we talked about him when he had his little controversy with Tennessee. So
Yeah,
yeah, not the good. He needs to be finding the good right now. Nico, is it Nico also, just like Nico Harris?
Nico, I'm Olivia.
I'm Olivia, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the best way to say it, I think.
Yeah. So, but today is Tuesday, September 2nd, another Tuesday episode. Tim was traveling back from home or from SoCal back to NorCal, so
Still home.
pushed it still home, but pushed it back another day after today, until our next vacations. We'll be doing Monday recordings as always. So, and on today's show, what we're just going to discuss, our banter takes. We'll do some fantasy corner. We had our fantasy draft this past weekend, so we'll sort of share our results, what we think of our team, and just some of the fun banter we had during that day. And then any other news topics that come to our head, or even we get alerted in the moment, because now that sports are football's back up, these alerts come in at any moment. Um, and as always, on Banter on the Rocks, we always like to have our drink of the week, something we drink on the rocks or even straight up. Today I am doing like I say, we're not officially sponsored, hopefully one day, but Tay Salud. I'm using one of their hibiscus mix, and I mixed it with water and then the tequila. So I've had that before on the show. I've shared it before. I think I did a video, and I forget what random story just came up in my
Hmm.
head during that video.
Yeah, no, it was your I believe your rocket car,
Oh
right?
yeah,
And
it
then
was
and
my
then you
spaceship.
you hung it up after that and
Yeah.
never looked back.
Crashed it into the bush and just left it there and went to play video games.
At least you tried. At least you tried,
I
John. That's
tried.
all that matters. And then today was a travel day.
Yeah.
We left pretty early, so we got back at a decent time today. Was really stoked on that. So I just have what was in the fridge. Got some
Hmm.
Pacifico. Good refreshing beer. It was
Yes.
odd. 100 and I think it got up to like 112
Oh,
in the
dang.
Central Valley of California today. And then by the time we got home, it was like mid 60s and fog was rolling in. So um, living near a beach helps.
Yeah, it does. It helps a lot. Yeah, we live in that Wainimi area, so the beach wind, having the windows open is just good. Unless
Yep.
I have to close it because we have all these hooligans out here driving their cars so loud, not letting
Yeah.
me record.
Got to show off the aftermarket stuff, John. It's
Yes, they
it's
do.
important.
They do. It
Yeah.
is. But yeah, those are our drinks of the week, and as always, we're gonna go live on TikTok during our episode, so you guys could join the banter, comment, whatever we're talking about. Um, and like I say, it's something we really enjoy your guys' comments. So our banter takes while we're setting up, those are takes where we each drop a hot take to each other that we haven't seen before. So these takes, Tim's gonna send me one, two, I'm gonna send him one or two that he hasn't seen, I haven't seen, and we're gonna defend them like they're our own, And sometimes we let chaos unfold. Some of the stuff we say with this is a bit outrageous. Some of it is really accurate and right. A lot of it does come true, I will say. I think if we were to track, we're probably at a good record. But a majority of the time it's to stir the pot. And there's a lot of you we like to stir the pot with. We're going to continue stirring the pot. And also until proven right or very wrong, we're going to roll with these takes. So,
Absolutely. Sorry, going live. My bad. Let me add you on there, John.
Okay.
Another great part of our podcast. We always go live on TikTok, so be sure to hit us up there if you guys have
Mhm.
any, questions. Monday or Tuesdays whenever we film, it's always around the same time.
Yep.
9:30 to 10 o'clock Pacific time is typically when we start. So always feel free, join
Yep.
us, hit us up. We'll definitely read off any questions live. Rob
Hmm.
dropped in last week with our Fast and Furious take,
Yes.
and gave some great input there. So
Yeah.
don't hesitate, and I will be now sending John his first take of the evening. Efforting. There we go. And sent.
So my first take, no matter how much Dylan Riola denies it, he is copying every single detail of what Patrick Mahomes is. Yeah. This Dylan Riola, is that how you say it? Riola,
I think it's Riola.
Riola, or Dylan Riola. If you haven't seen his game this past weekend, I think he did they play in Kansas City as well?
Arrowhead. Yeah, they sure
Arrowhead
did.
Stadium. So,
Pat Mahomes
but
in attendance as well as
Travis
Kelsey because they
Kelce.
played Cincinnati.
Yeah. So when this guy shows up, every straight up just copying, Patrick Mahomes from the haircut to the glasses to his celebration, walking onto the field, running onto the field. Um, and he says he denies it, but there's nothing helping you, Dylan. Like, come on, man. Just like embrace it if that's really what you're trying to go for because you look very, very similar to Patrick Mahomes. Roll with it. Live with it, die by it. Don't be trying to deny it when every piece of evidence, shows it. If I look like a pro athlete and people confuse me for him, yeah, I try to take advantage. Look at what the fake Justin Bieber got out of Vegas, 10K party
Good
bill.
point.
There's all these celebrities that always walk around. I don't know if Chris ever told you the story. Like we still think we got played, but in Vegas years ago, we thought we saw Manny Pacquiao in a
Oh,
casino and took a picture with him. Later, we found out no, it was a fake one, but
oh
looked just like him.
no.
Looked just like him.
Oh
You know,
no.
I from my last recollection of this story, it's like yeah, we want to say it was fake, but like I say, take advantage of that type of fame if that's what you're going for. Football player, I didn't watch the game, so I don't know how good he is, but he plays for Nebraska. That's your first sign.
Mhm.
Nothing against Nebraska. Maybe back in the day they were contenders. Now it's just to get your name out there because it is still a big school. Um, so Dylan, stop denying it. Stop trying to be Patrick Mahomes, and just admit it if that's the case, or find a new identity.
For sure. Yeah, no. Dylan Riola, first game, two touchdown passes. I believe he had
Mhm.
42 attempts, only threw for 243 yards though.
Cool.
Um, I guess no picks. It's great.
Hmm.
Decent completion percentage there. Yeah. Completed over
Yeah.
30 passes, of course.
Yeah. That's not bad.
And did it in front of Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
His I don't know, do we want to call him his big bro, his daddy?
His
I don't know.
doppelganger, or
His
yeah,
doppelganger.
you know.
He didn't get the update for haircuts though, because Mahomes
Oh,
cut his hair this offseason.
yeah.
So
Okay.
but this Riola is still rocking, 2024 Mahomes. So he's gonna have to
Yeah.
update some point this year. But maybe he's a little bit too afraid because a lot of people say he looks more like other, players versus Mahomes, and I don't think he likes that. So he's probably going to
Hmm.
keep the mohawk or whatever that is, and just kind of rock with it. But yeah, no, he's even doing everything down to like the finger wag, John.
Hmm.
Like, he's doing that. Again, maybe other quarterbacks do it, I
Do
guess,
it.
but
Yeah.
just like everything from like the way he walks to the sunglasses pregame, the
Hmm.
walk up.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything seems to be straight up Mahomes.
Yeah.
And it's like if you're gonna emulate somebody that much, it's okay to come out and just say, yeah, man, trying to
Big
be
fan.
Mahomes. Yeah,
Yeah.
big fan, and kind of live up to that. But
Mhm.
you know, he's certainly getting a lot of attention, and maybe this is good attention for Nebraska
Yeah.
because Nebraska hasn't been good in years. And now that Matt Rule is there, I believe this is Matt Rule's third season,
Yeah, I think it's the
and then
third.
Riola's second year. So
Hmm.
um, I think their schedule altogether is pretty easy as it
Hmm.
seems so far. I think late in the season they have. Um, let's see. They have Penn State, I think, later on this
Oh,
season, but to start, Cincinnati beat them 2017. Next, they have Akron, then
okay.
Houston Christian. Uh, a little bit of a test with
Yeah.
Michigan, Michigan State, Maryland, Minnesota, Northwestern, USC this year,
Okay.
but not at USC. That would have been a good game to go see. UCLA, though, maybe we got to go see this guy in person, John. I don't
Maybe
know.
we gotta make a sacrifice to go to that UCLA game, even though it's UCLA. Well, actually, we aren't here.
Mm,
We aren't
yep,
here.
nope. We're gonna be in the islands that week.
Yeah. Maybe
Good
we'll.
consolation.
Yeah. Yeah. But we'll be in Hawaii, exactly
We'll be in Hawaii.
where UCLA needs to be.
Absolutely. But you know what? We'll watch the game from Hawaii. Maybe some
Hmm.
highlights. Um, but yeah, no, altogether, pretty patty cake season. So maybe
Hmm.
he can kind of develop a
Yeah.
little bit of some, I don't know, some momentum here
Yeah.
and make Nebraska a little bit more of a thing. And I believe he was a five-star recruit in high school.
Okay.
I think he already garnered a lot of the comparisons to Pat Mahomes. I guess Mahomes has kind of been a mentor to him.
Hmm.
But again, if you're going to emulate this guy so much, don't be such a denier about it. Just be
Yeah.
like, he taught me, the finger wag, it gets my tendons going in my wrist. Just make something up. But, with him, everything from the walk to the fingers, it's like, dude, don't deny it. Like,
Yeah. It's funny because we'll see if Patrick Mahomes has it, but like he also has a headband that like Patrick Mahomes has,
hmm
so he does every single thing, and it's like embrace it, embrace your heroes, because it's sort of like when Iverson was like the big name in NBA. Everybody was wearing like his shorts, his headband, his arm
Yep.
sleeve. Kobe, Jordan, the leg sleeve, the quarter leg sleeve. It's like you do it after these players that you admire and you want to be at that level or even higher, get there and then go above it. Because I think it still happens, you see it in the NBA, the sleeves, the head. Well, I don't see the headbands as much anymore in the NBA, but you know,
Yep.
embrace it. Don't deny it. Um,
Yeah. It's okay. And I have a question for you, John. Do you feel
mhm,
like, outside of maybe league-wide examples, kind of like you mentioned, Iverson with the baggy
mhm.
shorts, stuff like that. I can't, off the top of my head, really think of any player who's emulated another player as much as Riola has done with Mahomes.
I'm trying to think.
For fun, for example, Gary Sheffield, his
Mhm.
his his swing, his batting stance.
Yeah.
He's waving the bat back and forth like crazy.
Hmm.
Me and my friends, any kid,
Yeah.
back in the day would emulate Gary Sheffield's swing.
Yeah.
Um, but
But
pro to a or to college to a pro to a pro, I don't know if I
n-
can really think of
no.
much.
I would say the only one that sort of I think came up a little bit this year was Anthony Edwards with the MJ
Ah,
comparisons,
that's a good one.
the like what is it? The elbow one, the one on his leg, sort of
Hmm.
just the way MJ wore it, and then his style, you could say sort of mimics it, not really full MJ, but you could see a bit of the MJ style in his game. So I think that's
Sure.
one.
Maybe
Um
Jason Tatum and Kobe.
yeah,
Kobe, with the championships as well. He
yeah,
won it. He did the kissing the trophy, the same
yeah.
pose that
Oh,
Kobe did.
he did
I think
everything. He did
he
the
cut a lot of
Kevin
slack with that.
Garnett. Who did he do Steph? Did he do a Steph one?
He might have,
He might
because he
have.
did that. What was it like? Do you believe or something like that? And
Yeah.
he like yelled to the mountaintops.
Yeah. That was a
Um,
Kevin Garnett, like anything is possible or
Anything is possible. There you
everything
go.
is possible. Something like that.
Yeah, no, and I can't think if he did Steph or anything, but I know
Yeah.
Kobe for sure.
Kobe. Yeah. The
That was another
pictures.
one.
Yeah. I saw a video, but I now I can't find it, but I saw something where someone let me see. Jonah Tong.
Oh,
Yeah.
with Tim Lincecum.
Yes.
Yes,
That's when
yes, yes, yes.
I saw, I don't know if it was today earlier or yesterday, but
Yep.
just similar mechanics. And he says it's his idol, Tim Lincecum,
Hmm.
so it happens and he admits it. He's like, yeah,
See,
that's how I learned.
that's the first step.
Hmm.
I just think the denying is what's catching a lot of attention
Yeah.
too. Um, but again, that's like a pitching, kind of like stance versus like
Hmm.
you're mimicking a way a guy's walking during plays or
Yeah.
in between plays. That's where it gets a
His
little bit
style.
different. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Instead of those big old glasses that Patrick Mahomes wear, just wear some nice, sick Ray-Bans, something like that. And then nobody's going to
Totally.
say anything,
Yeah, definitely.
you
Just Dylan Riola. I think long story short, you're good enough to be your own person.
know?
I think that's what we're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Like I said, he might be in the NFL in a few years, so you need to
Yeah,
have your own identity.
for sure. Imagine he's his backup one day.
I was about to say,
The Chiefs.
imagine it's Kansas City that drafts him, and then the next
Yep.
coming of Patrick Mahomes.
I could see that. Yeah, that'd be
That'd be
hilarious.
funny. But yeah. All right. Well, that's a good take. Sent Tim his first take.
All right. Here we go. All right. Dwayne The Rock Johnson needs his new movie to be a hit to be taken serious in Hollywood. He received a 15-minute standing ovation at the Venice Film Festival. Yes, saw that this past week. And the director of this film is the gentleman that was in Happy Gilmore too, correct? Like the
Mhm.
villain kind of role.
Yeah.
He looks super familiar. He was in tears. The Rock was in tears along with him. And yeah, all together, I feel like the Rock's roles have, I guess, they've been ultra popular, but maybe
Hmm.
nothing enough that was like very serious,
Yeah.
to be kind of taken like, okay, this guy's, legit versus, he's just in a bunch of, roles and movies that,
Hmm.
are have a bunch of great co-stars and a good
Yeah.
storyline and kind of gain a ton of popularity that way. Um, in To be quite honest, I feel like he has the ability to do that. He has a great range,
Hmm.
like from how serious he was in the WWE. He can do very well in comedy.
Yep.
He can obviously do action. He's been in plenty of action roles,
Yeah.
especially for, the way he's built.
Hmm.
Um, just his range in general. I feel like he can do phenomenal things. But I feel like a guy even like John Cena has been
Hmm.
taken more serious at
Yeah.
times for his roles. Um, so yeah, I think that The Rock needs that to happen. I'm sure you have a little bit more details. I'm curious to hear more about this movie that's coming out and just kind of the details behind it and why it's gotten a 15-minute stand-up ovation.
Yeah, the movie looks really good. I think ever since it got announced and sort of the preview as well, it looks like one of his most serious roles. Um, and I think it's the change he needs because a lot of people, were saying like, why was he crying? And Verito asked me the same thing. Like he was crying. I was like, he's crying because this is the first time he gets this type of attention for a role that isn't just a blockbuster money making movie. Because that's all he's done is blockbuster after blockbuster. San Andreas, great action movie, like you mentioned, great in action movies, but was never a real serious like Oscar contender, something to sort of show his acting range. What else? Rampage, based off the video game.
Rampage.
It was a moneymaker. Jungle Cruise, the Disney
Jungle Cruise. Yep.
adaptation of the ride, big moneymaker, and it's like this guy has the money, but like you say, I think he has a lot of range from the WWE, from being serious to being funny. I always liked him in what's the one movie? It's not the pacifier. I don't think
The
that's
game
Vin Diesel.
plan.
The game plan, the football one.
I was just
Like
looking up that movie. Yep.
he does really good, and that's when he was a younger actor too, and
Still had hair.
still had hair, funny, serious, was able to play that role really well. So I think from what I've seen for this movie, it looks very interesting based off a UFC fighter, Mark Kerr. I don't remember Mark Kerr much from watching UFC. I think it was before I started getting into it. So I'm very interested to sort of see what the UFC fighters back then were as well, because I do remember when the UFC or Ultimate Fighting was like the no weight classes. I don't know if you ever saw like clips of the old times where it was like some small guy against a bigger guy. So
Sure.
I'm curious to sort of see how this goes. This guy got cut. It has like Ryan Bader, an old UFC fighter in it. So I think it's great for him. I'm excited for him because I've always been a rock fan, and it's also some of the negative feedback he has also gotten from some of his movies. With like Fast X, he or the Fast and Furious franchise. We talk about that movie a lot, the franchise, but he went away after I think it was like seven because of the conflict with Vin Diesel, type of thing. He's coming back. It seems like, but also Black Adam. The DC movie that was sort of supposed to be the next big thing, and it was a big fail because rumor has it he was putting a lot of his input that sort of hurt the movie quite a bit. So, there's a lot that hasn't gone his way too well, that this is gonna be a great change for him. But like I said, I'm going through some of his movie list,
Jumanji.
Jumanji. Jumanji's a good one. I enjoyed
Yeah.
Jumanji. That was a
It's a
good
good
one.
trio.
Yeah. Ballers, like I say, that type of TV show. He did really well in Ballers. I liked him in
Yep.
it. You know, the movie Fighting with My Family, the wrestling one, it was a great movie, but he wasn't in it too much, so he didn't show off too much of his range.
Hmm.
Um,
What was the one with
Baywatch,
Kevin Hart he had?
Central. He did like five of Kevin Hart.
Central
Central, that's one of them.
Intelligence. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like that movie. I thought it was good comedy. I know very cheesy comedy, but
Yeah.
I had fun with that one.
Yeah. But yeah, he has a lot. Pain and Gain with Mark Wahlberg.
Hmm.
Um, the other guys, like I say, amazing in
Aim for
that
the
movie.
bushes.
Aim for the bushes. Like I
Uh,
say, he has a list of movies, and they're all great. They're all money makers. They made him money. And, that's why he created his own movie company. He has all these businesses. But now this movie, The Smashing Machine, is really gonna hopefully open up eyes for people to see how great he is and sort of make him more of a serious Hollywood actor to be considered for those big roles for Oscar worthy performances.
for sure. Yeah, and of course we can't forget Moana. What a
Moana.
great voice actor he is, and
Yes.
his singing talent is definitely there
Yeah.
too. Um, but a part of me kind of thinks like, and I think that this can be the case for a lot of folks that
Mhm.
it's kind of the Disney thing.
Hmm.
If you do a Disney role, you're kind of locked into that. I feel
Hmm.
like you're always seen as that Disney actor. So,
Yeah.
he's done a lot of things Disney, like for example, the game plan.
Yeah.
People kind of saw that as like of course it's like a children's movie,
Yeah.
softer side to The Rock, but then, he can go on the other end and co-star with Ryan Reynolds,
Hmm.
in that
Red
jail
Red Notice, I think.
Red Note. Yep.
Yeah.
Um, he goes both ends of the spectrum.
Hmm.
Fast and Furious obviously is another one. Um, so I feel like a lot of people kind of key in on certain roles, and maybe he's gotten to the point now where he's worked his way
Hmm.
out of some of those things. And yeah, I feel like, same thing could be said for probably Shia LaBeouf.
Hmm.
I always think about him and, even Stevens back in the day.
Yeah.
And then he did a film like Holes, which he was phenomenal in.
Hmm.
And then he kind of works his way, kind of away from those Disney roles and kind of gets into, more serious roles and goes from
Yeah.
there. Um, I feel like that's kind of just the case, could be the case for The Rock at times. But yeah, no, overall, I feel like that this could be a great film. Obviously
Hmm.
has a fighting, wrestling background, so I feel like, this type of role for himself could be really good. And then
Yeah.
the director, he also directed Uncut Gems, correct? From what I
Yeah, I
saw.
think he did. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, no, I mean, good for him too. It seems like
Hmm.
it could be a great pairing, and maybe the start of just more films together, and then that in turn turns into more Oscar nominations, and
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. And for like him, like I say, I think it could be a big thing. I think that's why it was so like talked about, and not many people know that. But like, there's some actors I think of that once they win an Oscar, they sort of change and go into like more serious movies. Emma Stone is one, she was always in like super
Hmm.
bad, those comedic small roles, but once she won that Oscar, it's sort of she's been doing all these movies that are always Oscar contenders now because of her acting, because of her range. Another one, I think it's Brie Larson. Um,
Hmm.
she got an Oscar and then was in a lot of serious movies, ended up being in big movies like what was it?
Marvel, right?
The Marvel one. Um, but yeah, like I say, I hope it's a good thing for The Rock because I think I've always liked him as an actor. I'll say he's
Me
good.
too.
I've always watched all his movies, up to even the last one he did with Chris Evans, the Santa Claus one. I saw that one because it
Yeah.
was Chris Evans and The Rock, and it's like it's
Hmm.
just a great movie, and it's something to go watch. But I think it's about time for him to make this change, make this leap, and hopefully he might get a nomination. I don't know if he'll win. Early rumors has it there's a lot of other contenders that might do that. Um, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, just looking through a lot of these, he took so many cheesy roles. I hate to
Hmm.
say it, like movies that can be seen as cheesy. Now, do I think he's a cheesy actor? No.
No.
I
Hmm.
think he's incredibly talented. That's why he keeps getting these offers. Um, but kind of digging a little bit deeper, one movie that I thought he was outstanding in
Hmm.
that was a really good high school memory for myself was Gridiron Gang.
That was
I
a good
thought
one.
that he
Hmm.
was a great role in that. He kind
Hmm.
of connected with obviously the players that are in juvenile hall.
Hmm.
I thought he played that role super well. He was really good in the Mummy movies as well.
Yeah.
Being a serious wrestler and then going into a role like that, I feel like it,
Hmm.
hand in hand went really good too. Um, but yeah, even just his animation,
Hmm.
I forgot he was in Super Pets.
Yeah.
Um, he's just had such an incredibly wide
Hmm.
uh, casting net
Yeah.
of his career. So, um, yeah, I love seeing him pop up in movies. Again, I'm
Hmm.
like you. I'm always interested in a movie that The Rock is in.
Yeah. Yeah, and we'll see because I'm looking at like all the last male actor winners, Oscar winners, for Best Actor. Some of them that sort of pop out, even if you haven't won, that get nominated. Bradley Cooper, he was always like in the running. I don't think he's
Hmm.
won one yet, but like I said, being in that type of movie that you can recognize at the Oscar gives you more opportunities because you see it more later. Eddie Redmayne, you know, when he won for Hawking, he was the big time actor for all these Oscar contenders. Leo, he was being thrown in everything
Man,
Oscar
yeah,
wise to try to get him a win, but Gary Oldman, great actor, great range, funny at times as well, and won an Oscar and still gets a lot of opportunities. Timothy Chalamet.
it's another
That's a
one.
guy, that you see Austin Butler, they're used in everything. So this could
Hmm.
be a big change for The Rock. He could still do those movies to make the millions, get that paycheck, but start sort of growing your range.
I have a question for you, John.
Yeah.
Can you be too buff? And I mean, I'm being dead ass with this question. Can you be too buff to be considered for like serious roles? Like, can your physique kind of get in the way of like a movie performance
hmm
or a character?
Yeah, I think it can. And
Hmm.
I think that's why he's also has lost a lot of weight. I don't know if you saw
I did. He
him
slimmed down
him
a
show
ton.
he slimmed
Yeah.
down, he lost a lot of that weight because if you think about it, look at I always blank out on names or while we're talking on the podcast, but I always know who they are.
I
Um
get that same thing. And then
uh,
after the podcast is over, it's like, why
it's
didn't
like
I think of
there it
that?
is. He
Name a
he
movie.
I can't
Try
even
to
name the movie right now. He
what he
he's he's a musical artist as well. I don't think he's won
oh.
Best Actor. That's why I don't think it's popping in my head. Um, like I say, it's gonna kill me. I'm gonna hate myself for not remembering his name right now. I truly am. It's not Sam Rockwell.
What kind of movie was he in?
Jared Leto.
Oh, Jared Leto. Okay.
Jared Leto.
Yep.
Like Dallas Buyers Club, he had to lose so much weight. Matthew McConaughey too has lost a lot of
Same.
weight for some roles.
Yep.
Uh,
50 Cent did it.
50 Cent did it. Christian Bale, I think, gained weight for Nixon, I
Oh
think it was,
man,
or
that
one of,
dude does everything for a role. It's
yeah.
crazy.
So,
Wahlberg
the
is another one. He'll do it.
Wahlberg, there's a lot of these actors that are in the categories always for best actor, best supporting actor that transform their body. And it's something, this is a great role for The Rock to sort of keep his physique and sort of show off his physique because it's going to be hard for someone else to get to that level of a UFC fighter,
Hmm.
but you see it. You see a lot of these fighters getting strong, getting buff, the Kumal that did Eternals, I think it is, the
Yeah.
comedian
No,
that
he
went
got
to having
jacked,
he
dude.
got whatever
It's
whatever
crazy.
that dude's diet was, that's what I need to go on because I just need to get jacked as well.
But see, great that he got jacked, but didn't he? I haven't seen him in anything in a long time,
No, because
you
it's
know?
the movie really took a big hit.
Okay.
I read somewhere that that movie was supposed to, he was signed on for like six Marvel movies after
Oh
that.
boy.
And because that movie failed, he sort of got lost.
Yep. It'll
So
happen.
it'll happen.
A lot of people
Uh,
say that about like comedians, for example. Like it's really tough for comedians to be super like ripped or good
yeah,
looking in order to make it far. I don't
yeah,
know why. I've heard that a lot though.
yeah.
Um, where people feel like, folks like that don't make it as far. I feel like it's changed quite a bit
hmm
lately. But I think that just in general, a lot of people like a funny fat guy, Chris Farley, for
Yeah.
example.
Chris Farley,
You know,
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill was another good example.
Yeah,
I know he doesn't like to talk about weight. I know he's lost a lot of weight, so props
yeah.
to him. John Goodman is another one.
hmm
Back in the day, John Candy is another
Yeah.
one. Just when you're overweight like that,
Hmm.
I just feel like, you seem Stavros is another one.
So yeah.
Just hilarious.
Hey, I
No.
was surprised that I didn't know he was in that movie with Emma Stone because he was at the Venice Film
Oh,
Fe or
okay. Yeah.
Stavi.
Yeah, Savi, didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, he was at the
Oh,
Venice Film Festivals. I think their movie got a good standing ovation as well. But when I
good.
saw him there, I was like, wait, this fool's in a big movie, and I'm like, that's great for him. He's losing weight from what I see because I do follow him. Uh,
Yeah,
you know,
same.
supporter of the he's a Ravens fan, so even more reason
Hmm.
for me to follow him. But yeah, he's in an Oscar contender, which I'm very surprised that he was in it.
Yeah, no kidding. He was great in Tires. Really liked
Tyler.
him there.
Yes,
He plays that role so well.
he did.
He was so good in that. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it seems like he's on a weight loss journey, especially
Hmm.
when he was on tour. So yeah, props to
Yeah.
him.
No, yeah. But yeah, The Rock, we'll see what happens. It's getting close to that time of the year again, which I like award season. Some people don't like the awards because they feel like it's, not really fair. They're not looking at everything. They're looking at the big pictures, but I enjoy it because it really makes me go outside of the box of my normal like Marvel movies, action movies to sort of look at different movies.
For sure. No, absolutely. I mean, since we've started this podcast, it's gotten me kind of looking more into movies more than I ever have before. I'm
Yeah.
traditional, give me a good comedy
Yeah.
and or action film. Throw
Yeah.
that in, of course, horror film. Um, but even films like, dramas.
Hmm.
I was never a big fan. Jenny is. She loves dramas, but um, yeah, I don't know, anything that has like terminal illness in it. And I'm like, dude, it's hard for me to watch it. I
Yeah.
just,
It
you know,
it it's hard, but the stories are great, the characters are
yes.
great, the way it builds it really, it's a few times I would say some men really do cry for some of those movies and I'll
Yep.
admit it, I always shed tears, so
Yeah.
it's good. It's what I enjoy about movies.
Same. Absolutely. All right. I'm going to send John his next take there. That was a
Yeah.
great topic there. Let me get it over to you. Do, do, do. Boom.
All right. So take notes, baseball. The enhanced games, an Olympic style event where doping is allowed, isn't dystopian fantasy. It's a logical next step in a world desperate for record-breaking spectacle. Um, I wasn't aware of this. The enhanced
Okay. Yeah.
games. So an Olympic style event where doping is allowed. I, you know, I think baseball sort of has to come to the understanding, and a lot of sports have to come to the understanding where doping's gonna happen, and it's not always like doping for a bad reason, because even doping to recover from injuries and that type of stuff happens. Um, One of the things that sort of pops into my head and it's with boxing, it was with the Canelo Triple G controversy many years ago where Tri Canelo was caught with like an illegal substance in his body that is considered doping, and from all the reports, and I don't think he got in trouble for it. I can't really remember, but it was due to the meat he was eating from a certain, place in Mexico. So,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes it is that, there's natural things that sort of cause you to be like doping, have those type of side effects. So I think baseball takes it a little takes it a bit, how do I want to say this without offending the old school baseball people? Baseball takes their rules way too damn serious. They are not lenient for anything. Where I understand it's what you used to do back when Babe Ruth was there, but things are changing, technology is changing, the sport, the game is changing. You know, we saw that a little bit with the torpedo bats earlier in the season. It's not really talked about. I don't even know if anybody's still using him. Um, but it's like if someone's doping a little bit to just help them get some power and it's helping the game, like more power to you. You know, people go see home runs. You know, Kyle Raleigh right now hit another homer on that home run race with Aaron Judge. You know, we want to see maybe not just two people, maybe if there were 4 to 5 people in that race, it'd be a lot more interesting. And just because you're doping, honestly, is especially in baseball, it's not going to make you better. Hey, I could be doping, I would still be the worst baseball player because I just suck at hitting. It doesn't matter how strong I can hit. You know, in a batting cage, in a real game, at those 90 plus hours, those curveballs, like if you're not good at the game, it doesn't matter how much you dope or how big muscles you have, it's not going to make a difference.
For sure. No, absolutely. I certainly want to provide a little bit of details here, John. And I think that this could be an event that I think you and I should attend. I think we should
Yeah.
really consider it. So it's going to take place Resorts World Las Vegas.
Okay.
It's going to take place May 2026. This is like a legitimate, like
Okay.
actual Olympic style game. But it's going to be May 21st through the 24th, 2026. Categories are swimming, 50-meter,
Hmm.
100-meter freestyle. And then you have 50-meter, 100-meter butterfly. You have track and field, 100-meter sprint, 100-meter hurdles, and then weightlifting, snatch, clean, and jerk. So there's going to be few different
Hmm.
competitions there, obviously, over a 3-day span. And on their website, they preface that this is, let me go to where I just read it. Um, At Enhanced Games, we encourage the use of performance enhancements with the appropriate medical safeguards. This is
Hmm.
our opportunity to evolve humanity by demonstrating what the human body is truly capable of.
Hmm.
And basically, um, obviously, their thoughts behind this is to bring, I guess, a greater athlete. I mean, this sounds like maxi golf, if you
Yeah.
ask me, from Happy Gilmore too. Same kind of concept where they're trying to have the Olympics but allow doping
Hmm.
and just, lift more, be faster, be quicker at swimming. I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody is going to be capable of beating like a Michael Phelps record.
Hmm.
Michael Phelps is just a freak athlete that I don't know if anybody's going to touch what he can do, but let's see if performance enhancers,
Yeah.
will push the human body to an extent that they will surpass something that Michael
Hmm.
Phelps would do. I think it would be fun if we were to witness something like that, John,
Hmm.
and film it. I think that'd be super cool. But yeah, it's going to take place. I guess it has, some celebrity backers
Yeah.
supposedly, and we preface this with the take of baseball.
Hmm.
Baseball is other sports have kind of dealt with it too, but baseball is the prime example of it being a sport that was arguably a lot more fun when there
Yeah.
was performance enhancers versus what it is now. And let's be honest, Babe Ruth, extraordinary athlete for his time,
Yeah.
but he was facing 80 to 85 mile an hour fastballs
Yeah.
on average. You had a couple guys like, Walter Johnson or Lefty Grove that were throwing low 90s,
Yeah.
but 80 to 85 range, a lot of people could consider that BP nowadays.
Yeah.
And of course he's going to hit 714 home runs.
Hmm.
With pitching that could
Yeah.
be high school level at this point.
Yeah.
In the sport of baseball, if you obviously get a hit 3 out of 10 times, you're considered extremely good, especially in
Yeah.
today's statistic.
Yeah.
And if you um, I mean, there's basically passes. If you have power, but you're hitting
Hmm.
250, you're still going to be considered for an MVP if you're
Hmm.
have a ton of pop with it. Cal Raleigh is a perfect example of that. So,
Yeah.
um, just in order to keep up of what pitching is now, I mean, you have
Hmm.
a guy like a Aroldis Chapman. The
Yeah.
dude is late 30s still. I think the first time in 40 something batters he's faced finally gave up a hit. His ERA
Yeah.
is 1 because the dude is throwing still 100 to 103 miles an hour on average. Like, you need something to try to keep up with that consistently. And when you have
Hmm.
performance enhancers, you're gonna have guys like Sammy Sosa,
Hmm.
Barry Bonds, Mark McGuire, just
Yeah.
keeping it entertaining. I just don't think I think people like pitching to an extent, but I think people enjoy the home run a little bit more.
Yeah.
Um, so, I don't know if this is going to be the start of something, if, other sports might get a little bit more lax if
Hmm.
this event gets a lot of attention.
Yeah.
I think it's something that other sports might want to consider.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it a bit and just thinking about it because some of the things you say, it's going to help the sport, what they used to do back then when Babe Ruth was around to now. Something like this, if it works out really well where they're using performance enhancers, I also sometimes don't think performance enhancing drugs are always to just make you better. I think it's also for recovery. Because if there's drugs like these that are legal, they're, enhancing performance, we might see someone like Derrick Rose have that nasty injury, knee injury, but, having these type of PEDs that are safe, that are here to sort of repair his knee and come back the same player, that guy could have had a career legendary run, but because of his injury, not being able to do these type of things, because if he did, he'd be out of the league. He really struggled, a lot of these pitchers, that go through Tommy John that get injured and then they can never make, that great comeback again. They suffer from it because they know I can't take these drugs that are out there that are, safe to sort of help me come back, be strong, and perform the way I always was doing. It's not like they're looking for a leg up to, oh, I need to get an extra 3 miles per hour. It's like, no, I just want to come back at my normal self. So this could be something that I think helps with that because I see something that says, profiling, assess the structural integrity and functional performance of the athlete's musculoskeletal system,
Hmm.
providing insights into changes that occur during key phases of growth and tissue repair. So that's the big word for me, tissue repair. Because, you get hurt, ACL injuries, if you come back from it quicker, happens at the beginning of the year. Nick Chubb may have came back and been such a great player where now rumor has it he isn't the same explosive player. So
Hmm.
I think PEDs are good. I think this event could be very changing to the sports, depending on how it gets, how much attention it gets, you know.
For sure. Yeah, no, and in a great example of, you bring up, decimating injuries to, previous
Hmm.
athletes and stuff like that, and then, recovery. We it was a big topic for us with Tyrese Halliburton
Hmm.
and Jason Tatum with the Achilles injuries, and it just seemed so prominent this season. Damian Lillard was another one. It
Hmm.
just seemed like there's so many star players getting Achilles injuries, and if you can implement something like modern medicine with, I don't know,
Hmm.
HGH steroids,
Hmm.
but within medical and doctor
Yeah.
limitations that are appropriate and don't affect, other parts of your body,
Hmm.
you know, are we onto something? You
Yeah.
know, don't let modern medicine get in the way of, what you think is providing to the integrity of the
Hmm.
game is kind of what I feel like.
Yeah.
You look back at, I'll go back to baseball. It's like
Sure.
the problem with baseball is there's so many damn unwritten rules. For example, today, Rafael Devers hits a right field bomb
Oh, I saw that. I
against the
saw
Rockies,
that.
and then it was benches clearing because
Yeah.
I don't know, he took too long to admire it. But if a pitcher strikes him out per se, and he does a
Hmm.
fist bump and he's talking,
Yeah.
crap on his way
A
back to
stare
the dugout,
down.
no problems, I guess.
Yeah.
It's that double standard,
Hmm.
and it just gets in the way of people enjoying it. Again, I like a good brawl though. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
I don't
I
mind
think
it.
it's yeah, I think it's fun. I love the Padres Dodgers stuff going on. I think
Hmm.
it's created a phenomenal rivalry.
Yeah.
Um, Baseball needs that. But again, the unwritten rules of certain stuff that, gets in the way of, I don't know, just the
Hmm.
popularity of it at times is just kind of annoying. So
Yeah.
if people can look past the fact of, yeah, let's compare Barry Bonds' 73 home run season to a Babe Ruth 60 home run
Yeah.
season against 80 to 85 mile an hour pitching. It's like, dude, kind of the
Hmm.
same, you know. If Barry Bonds was facing 80 85 mile an hour pitching, that dude's hitting 100 home runs in a
Oh
season.
yeah,
I don't care.
he's breaking it.
Yeah, and same can be said for other sports. That's why I
Hmm.
brought up the basketball thing.
Yeah.
Could we see Jason Tatum or Tyrese Halliburton halfway through the season, possibly, if
Hmm.
they were able to use drugs like this? So, again, within doctors' limitations, they're not doing it
Yeah.
up with like a personal trainer, or something wild like that. That's exactly what the Hans games are going for,
Hmm.
is, medically examined. What can the most prominent athletes in the world, what can they unlock going forward?
Yeah. Which I think will be really really good because
Mhm.
there needs to be a change, like you mentioned, with the NBA athletes, Tatum, Halliburton, um, any player that had an ACL injury, they're not playing at all this year. Those teams are going to struggle, and it's bad for the fans. It's bad for the fandom of this sport. Let's put it. I'm not going to say this team. I'm trying to think. I'm going to say this player. Imagine it was Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars were good, and he had an ACL injury, you know, and we knew his team had one more year of that window, but he couldn't come back because of that injury. If something like this could help him come back sooner and possibly be able to play the next year and still take that team to the playoffs, it's worth it. And like I say, it's something you got to look at because it's what brings that entertainment to the sport. You know, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, CMC going out. It doesn't help the sport at all because people stop watching once those big names are out. So what can we do to just continue keeping eyes on there, but still, like you say, have it under doctor limitations observation?
Perfect example. Yeah. You want to see these windows and players get the fullest advantage of
Hmm.
those small windows to,
Hmm.
win something, make a storied franchise. It's all the difference in the world. But John, with the Jaguars, let's be honest, the biggest Achilles tear there was Shred fucking Balky.
It was, and maybe they had their
Yeah.
enhancement right now with the new GM, but I was gonna say Patrick Mahomes, but I don't want to hate on them too much, don't want to put that
Yeah.
out there. So I just brought up that name because I don't really care about the Jaguars if it happens.
Yeah. No, I think the most we've talked about the Jaguars is Chin Balky talk,
Yeah. Yeah.
slander.
And just Trevor Lawrence's hair. That's about it.
In the hair. That's it. Him with Herbert. Yeah.
Yeah. But
First team all
yeah,
hair.
yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes, how it looks. I think yeah, enhanced games. If you guys want some, on the field reporters, people talking about it, podcasting, talking to other athletes about it, hey, hit us up because like I say, we're here looking at changes in the game that could be good for baseball, all these sports. Swimming is one I think I've seen it before happen as well. I can't remember how long ago, but one of the swimmers getting accused of using performing enhancing drugs to win gold medals. I forget where it ended, but it's like it's one sport. Like to beat Michael Phelps, you have to be a freak, and sometimes you just need that little extra boost. But we want to see it eventually, and Michael Phelps could always have that reminder in his head, like, okay, yeah, someone broke my records, but I know they were under performing enhancement, so kudos to them. But
Mhm.
knows, I still am one of the greatest.
Yeah, totally.
Hmm.
Exactly right. Enhanced games. I'm probably gonna hit you up. Me and John will hit you up.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you need like a spearheaded tag team
Yeah.
interview combo, we're your guys.
Or
So
your guys. Yeah.
yep, absolutely. But no, seems like a great event. Seems like a lot of
Yeah.
fun. Vegas is the place to hold it.
Vegas. Yeah.
They need something to ramp it back up over
Oh
there.
yeah,
So
they do.
this will be it. All right. So John sent me over my next take here. Baseball needs to reevaluate some of their old rules. Phillies pitcher Matt Schramm was forced to ditch his custom glove, which held autograph of special needs Little League players he supports because it was predominantly white. Hmm. Yeah, I feel like they do this a lot, especially with color like
Hmm.
coordination with cleats, gloves. NFL does it a lot.
Yeah.
They have certain weeks where like they'll allow, I guess, children or
Hmm.
special charity events to customize cleats for them, but they just need to make it year round. I
Yeah.
feel like that, especially when it comes to special needs kiddos or just really any
Hmm.
adult that could go through life-altering
Hmm.
illnesses, things like that. If you have something that you'd like to support during a certain game,
Hmm.
by all means, the MLB just needs to allow it. I
Yeah.
think it's total horse crap that they don't allow people to kind of do things like this, especially, Matt Strom has, signatures of, little leagues that, it's special needs. It's a representation of, those kiddos with special needs going out there, trying
Hmm.
to, do
Hmm.
extracurricular activities to the best of their ability. I think it's something to, certainly, promote.
Yeah.
I had the privilege of when I was in Little League to support a Little League team of special needs players. And basically, we were paired up with player to player. And I had this little girl, I believe she had autism. And, I believe it was T-ball. And I helped her from, hitting the ball to rounding the
Hmm.
bases to fielding. And it was such a great experience, especially for myself at a young age, to
Yeah.
kind of, interact with, individuals that aren't, you know, I won't say that, but like, deal with,
Hmm.
things that, others don't deal with. So, I thought that was awesome. And, just see them, the sheer joy that they can get out of that.
Yeah.
So for major league players to be able to have a platform to, acknowledge things like that. And
Hmm.
it's something as simple as just autographs on a freaking glove,
Yeah.
like MLB, just take your heads out of your behinds and allow it. Like
Yeah.
it's certain times, like I don't care what week it is, certain times, Matt Strom being a pitcher, he's not going to pitch every single day.
Hmm.
If he can do it every outing, it's going to be
Yeah.
once a week. Just do it, you
Yeah.
know?
It's crazy because when I saw that and that what we were talking about right now or what you sort of mentioned with the last topic, the unwritten rules of baseball, I did see that technically it's a written rule, but it's like really over a white, predominantly white glove. Like it makes no sense. Like let these players be unique and support these causes because like you say, sometimes having that glove out there because that team is going through some hard times, having a memorabilia, something to remember someone that's, maybe at the hospital that or because a lot of these players go to like these children's hospitals, or just hospitals in general. They do make a wish of these kids, adults that are fighting terminal illnesses. And sometimes it's like, hey, let me take out these signed shoes, but because they're signed in pink, the NFL is going to say, like, nope, you can't wear it because it's not, Breast Cancer Awareness Week or, month, and you can't wear pink. And it's like, no, you guys just gotta stop being so OCD over these rules. Focus on the game, jersey wise, I understand, but cleats, gloves, things like that, like be a lot more lenient because like I said, it'll make it more fun. It'll bring more attention to a lot of these organizations that a lot of these players support and even have themselves. So, what Matt Strom has done, I think it's a great because yeah, it's a population that needs that support, needs a reminder, and he's doing a lot of great things and not letting him have that glove. It's sort of, you could say, a slap to those kids because it's like, oh, we don't care about you guys signing, it's not part of our rules.
Right. And I'm even looking at the glove right now. Certainly either clipping or during this full edit,
Hmm.
we'll include a photo of what the glove
Yeah.
is. And it's not even like an all white glove. Like,
Hmm.
there's tan mixed into it. Like I don't know. I guess the unwritten rule would be it's hard to see the ball out of the pitcher's hands, but isn't that kind of the goal of the pitcher to
Yeah,
hide it as long as possible? And
yeah,
then, some of the great pitchers hide it for so long.
yeah.
Lincecum, for example, he got a lot of momentum from the way he threw, but he hid that ball for so long because of how far he turned his body away.
Hmm.
So, it's just part of the game. I see in the past he's had a Declaration of Independence glove,
Hmm.
which looks pretty cool. I think another time he let his daughters customize a glove for him.
Yeah,
And again, stuff like this shouldn't be turned away by the MLB so much. Like
yeah.
it's who cares about the colorway? I think that, you just kind of, I don't know, just live with it,
Hmm. Yeah.
especially the cause, like you mentioned,
Hmm.
it's an important
Yeah.
topic. Um, in I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a way
It,
to promote and advertise.
yeah, and learn to adapt. If you're really going to complain about a white glove, that means you just suck. It means you need
Yeah.
you need one up. If you're going to complain about a player's cleats being pink, you need to check yourself because that means you're just not great at the sport if you're really that pissed about a colored shoe, colored gloves, headbands. I think that's one of the reasons headbands were also sort of like banned in the NBA for some time. Or like what is it? Like the do-rag one, like I forget, or like the tying one. Like I don't think you could wear that in the NBA anymore just because of risk, but it's like
Uh-huh.
if you have long hair, it's the same thing. Someone could pull your hair, so like
Yeah.
they gotta stop being so OCD over some of these rules that I think are dumb. Like I say, if I was a baseball player, I'd want to have a different colored glove. I'd want to be creative, just, you know, make it myself and go out there. But I know from the sounds of it, I'd probably get in trouble every game.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's another one that I really like is breast cancer awareness.
Hmm.
The pink bats that come out for that. I think that's always super cool to see the
Yeah,
gloves, same thing, pink
yeah,
gloves, pink anything
yeah,
really, minus the logos. And I always think that's super cool to
yeah.
see. Just allow it more often. If it's something that affects your life, go ahead and just allow it. I think it is
Yeah.
something that you need to live with and make it more customizable. You
Hmm.
see kiddos these days emulating, even like those sliding pads,
Yeah.
to like help your hands and stuff.
Huh.
But back in my day,
You went raw,
barehanded,
raw.
just yeah, raw to the dirt.
Yeah.
Um, but there's so many things that could make the sport, I don't know, just customizable, more
Hmm.
enjoyable. NFL, the creativity that players have with their cleats.
Hmm.
I know a big thing is too with even sock length.
Hmm.
They're getting
Oh
on
yeah.
people with that. Tyreek Hill, I think, is notorious for, having, lower
The short,
sock
yeah.
length. And, the NFL hates that, but he's willing to pay the fine and kind of live with it and
Hmm.
play through that. I think Caleb Williams, if I'm not
I think
mistaken,
so,
has the
yeah.
same thing. Um, who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah, why does it matter how long your socks are? Like what difference is it gonna really make, It's like just
Hmm.
don't those are the factors that they shouldn't be worried about and worried more about the gameplay. Worry more
Yep.
about your refereeing. Make it fair. Don't give it to the Chiefs every year.
In a weird way, yeah, don't give it to the Chiefs every year. That's a good point. It feels like a weird tax,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah. But
But
yeah.
yeah, let them
Yeah,
live.
yeah. Let them live, let them have fun, let these sports have fun, let them be creative and be themselves. We always tell people, be yourself, bring your personality into it. Don't limit people just because you have these unwritten old school rules. But I know a lot of the old school hardcore people are gonna hate us for that take, but it's okay.
Yeah. Just like the other one, performance
Yeah.
enhancers. People will get after us, Sean. Got to be careful.
Yeah. But at the end, these are all our takes, these are our thoughts. Agree or disagree, let us know in the comments. Let us know what you think, of our takes this week. But We'll get on. And man, yeah, banter takes took quite a while. We had some discussion. NFL.
Love it.
Any news, thoughts of the season? Season starts on Thursday. Cow Cowboys versus Eagles. Exciting just to have a football game back.
Football's so back. I just want to hear the music, John. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun. Man, I can't. It's like Christmas morning
hmm
for, all of us football fans right now.
Yeah.
The anticipation. I know we'll get into it. Fantasy drafts.
hmm
People who waited appropriately. I feel like you gotta wait. We've talked about this. A lot of folks, are still drafting, have just drafted.
Yeah.
Got to get those teams in prior to Thursday. I think anytime you have a fantasy draft is so much freaking fun.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, NFL season is so back. A big shakeup. I guess we could dive right into it, John.
Yeah.
Micah Parsons to the
Michael
Packers.
Parsons.
We've talked a lot about Micah Parsons. I tried to put in my ploy through the DMs to get him over here, for the Niners, but he is a Green Bay Packer now.
hmm
Um, and I'm kind of curious on your thoughts here, John. A lot has come out since this trade. I don't know if anything has changed in your mind. I'm curious to see, your thoughts on the deal altogether.
I think the deal's a lot. Green Bay's paying a hefty price, and I saw a little clip of Parsons, the agent, sort of saying he wanted to be a Cowboy for life. He always grew up, following them. That was his team. Um, and but Cowboys said no. And is it something? I think you mentioned it. Possible injury right now, starting the season off. Hurt.
Yeah,
Um,
sure. Back, right? Like
yeah.
L4, L5,
So,
and he's gonna need epidurals.
oh wow, yeah. If you think about epidurals, there's only a few population that get that every 9 to 10 months.
Yeah.
As a female with kids,
Yep.
it's a little higher price point to pay. But if this isn't as serious as it sounds, it still could pay off for Green Bay, but Dallas may have avoided putting all their money into this guy, and he's not 100% healthy.
Yeah. No, it's certainly my opinions changed a bit. Micah Parsons, obviously, incredible talent. My opinion on Jerry Jones hasn't changed too much,
Oh yeah, no.
although he might be a decent chess player and other
hmm
teams might be playing checkers. With this deal, if he knew anything about this injury, because supposedly the
hmm
Packers, I read somewhere that Packers didn't know too much about this injury prior
hmm
or the severity of it. And, I this whole fiasco, maybe it's stemming from injury, and that's why Dallas didn't want to pay him too much. Now,
hmm
pure speculation. I wasn't a
Yeah,
fly on the wall for this, but that's stuff that I'm reading.
yeah.
And it kind of makes sense in my
hmm
opinion. But you go out and you ask, what is it, 4 years, 188 that he received?
hmm
Just a huge number for a non-QB.
Yeah.
I think that is north of a player like Pat Mahomes at this point.
hmm
Um, Again, is he that much of a guy that can change a game like a quarterback could? I don't know. He made a difference for the Cowboys when he did
hmm
come back healthy last year, even though it
Yeah.
was a losing season anyways. Um, but again, I it's a huge number. I can kind of see why the Cowboys didn't want to pay all that. But yeah, these
Yeah.
epidural injections, it's a very serious
hmm
type of medication to need in order to play. Evidently, it could be something as frequent as, getting these weekly to get out there.
Yeah.
Um, and you're paying a guy 40 plus $1 million
Yeah.
knowing
Yeah.
this is kind of crazy.
It's really crazy, especially knowing back injuries. that could get worse with time,
Yep.
and to repair back injuries, it's very risky to go get surgery. So this is a big swing the Packers took. I think the reason the Packers did it is because the NFC North is going to be a tough division to win. You got the Bears, you got the Vikings, you got the Lions. You need to be top two in that NFC North to make the playoffs. If you're not, most likely you're out. And you have Jordan Love, who you paid, and you need to make something out of this team before your window closes. Um, and their defense, I think, is where they needed some support. They got Golden in the draft this year, so that sort of helps the offense. Josh Jacobs really showed out last year, so they have a pretty decent offense. But their defense, I think, needed some help. I still think they need some help, and especially if Michael Parsons can't play. Uh, but you're right. I'm not a Jerry Jones fan, but this guy might be an ultimate chess player um, to have fleeced, the Packers. Even though he didn't get too much for them, he got something compared to just losing him to nothing.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's the biggest thing of it all is, A, didn't have to pay him a non-QB
Yeah.
extraordinary amount of money, knowing how much he, has paid Dak. Yeah, he didn't want to
Hmm.
get, kind of fooled again.
Yeah.
Um, he it just I don't know if this change would do you feel like this could make up for Jerry's image? Let's just say if Micah Parsons goes on to have a very injury-riddled Packers tenure, do you think that this could drastically change Jerry's image?
Um, a little bit. I think it'll save Grace and it'll keep him in the position for quite a while.
Hmm.
Um, because if it backfires and the Packers win a Super Bowl, either within the next 2 years because of Michael Parsons, he's gonna get killed for it.
Yeah.
So I think it always does. I think we sort of look at the Deshaun situation with the New York Giants.
Hmm.
Losing Barkley. If it wouldn't have worked out, he would look like a winner. Right now, he still looks like a loser. Even though this team, the Giants, are looking promising, he still looks like a loser because Saquon went to the Eagles and won a Super Bowl, and it was
Yep.
because of Saquon they won a Super Bowl.
Yep.
So it makes people, it breaks people. So this could be Jerry Jones saving grace, but we'll have to see what Michael Parson does.
It's a great point. Yeah. Yeah. Big topic there. Evidently, he will be ready for week one,
Hmm.
but needing a possible injection in order
Hmm.
to play. Let's see what happens there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think anything else. We already talked Brian Robinson
Hmm.
Jr. last week. That was great. Jawan Jennings is back
Go
at
on.
camp.
Hmm.
He seems to be ready for week one. Um, Matt Stafford is rumored to be ready for week one
Yeah.
play. So that's good for the Rams.
Yeah. Good.
Um,
Good for Puka drafters right there. Devontae
yep,
Adams.
definitely.
Um,
Trying to think of what else.
yeah.
Devon A. Chain kind of still dealing with lingering injuries.
Yeah.
Dolphins kind of seem just to be a hot mess.
Yeah.
No good way to put it.
There
Um,
is no good way to put it. Um, but something NFL related for you, Tim. Let me find it.
okay.
Where did I think I had it here? Okay. Um, so it was a post, and I sort of wanted to get your thoughts, but this is ChatGPT's thoughts and takes for the season. And I
Okay.
wanted to see what you think if ChatGPT knows ball.
All right. I like
And
it.
this was a post from ESPN Bet. So they posted this. Does ChatGPT know ball? So the first take, Super Bowl prediction. Um, ChatGPT said if I had to make one pick right now, I'd go with the Buffalo Bills. What do you think of that take or that pick?
I think I like it, but not that much because I think the Pats are going to take that division. Um, but no, I mean, obviously they can still make the Super Bowl.
Hmm.
with the Pats still taking the division. But uh, I don't mind it. It's the next stepping stone for Josh Allen's career.
Hmm.
Um, I always make this comparison, but it could be this LeBron James effect where, he takes a kind of whatever team,
Hmm.
and kind of just how much more he makes it better. Like, for example, last season. There
Yeah.
wasn't a whole lot, going on
Yeah.
with the Bills minus Josh Allen. That it seemed like they had let everybody go. There's a lot of questions on from coaching to personnel to that
Yeah.
defense to, the weapons that Josh Allen has at his disposal. And look how far they made it.
Yeah.
So the Bills, it's an interesting one. Um, but there's just a lot of kryptonite when it comes to the Bills and the AFC. The
Hmm.
Ravens would be one. The Chiefs are obviously one.
Hmm.
The Bengals have been in the past.
Yeah.
It's quite a bit to kind of think about. But is this maybe the time for the Bills to take
Hmm.
that next step and actually make it to a Super Bowl
Yeah.
and win it? I think Josh Allen very well could get two
Yeah.
rings 1 year. How about that?
Yeah, it could be that type of year. Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't think it's gonna come true, but I see how it can because the Bills are on that doorstep for the Super Bowl and on
Hmm.
this doorstep to win it. Because I think if they would have been the team the last 2 years to go to the Super Bowl, they would have won two Super Bowls. I think they could have possibly beat the Eagles, just because of Josh Allen, you know. Um,
Yeah.
so
Do you,
I
do you do you think, John, do you think that this is the best chance Josh Allen has ever had to make the Super Bowl?
I do. I think Keon Coleman is gonna develop into a better player this year. His tight ends, I think they have a balanced team that could go far. So I see it. It's still gonna be a lot of depending on Josh Allen on his feet, on his run game. Like I said, James Cook, I don't think is going to be that big of a factor. I think Ray Davis is going to step up more this year.
Yep.
But like I say, it's going to be a whole team effort, and this is one team that they can make it. That division's still winnable. Patriots might be
Mhm.
their only big challenge. Um, but yeah, I think it's the 1 year. If they don't make it, their window may close next year.
Yeah. And you hate to see that for Bills fans because in the
Hmm.
past, they're great at appearances,
Yeah,
but just can't capitalize.
yeah. So one of the next things ChatGPT says, who will be named MVP? And it says, if I had to lock in one MVP pick right now, it would be Lamar Jackson. Don't hate it.
Yeah. Yeah. I know you don't for sure,
Yeah,
but neither do I.
yeah.
I think Lamar, yeah, definitely could have an MVP year. One thing that you did bring up previously with both Lamar and Derrick Henry, I think you brought up with Lamar when it came to fantasy football rankings was taking a step back maybe in the run game. And do you
Hmm.
think if he takes a step back in the run game, that'll hurt his MVP chances?
No, if he's able to just throw as accurate as he has been,
Yeah.
the rapport with Bateman, I think, developed a lot last year. So I think he finally has confidence in him. Zay Flowers can still stretch the field, and now DeAndre Hopkins, like I say,
Yeah,
a name that even though he's so old, he's still going to be someone to rely on in that red zone and for just those big catches. You could throw it up, and I think he still goes up and battles with anybody at the best. And like I say, Mark Andrews is still a good player. I think, he had that. He's gonna have to recover from that, the drops he had. But then Isaiah Likely, another guy, that I think stepped up last year, will have a good year. Derrick Henry, Keaton Mitchell, there's a lot of pieces to help him. And I think if he doesn't run as much, he'll still be in that MVP conversation if he could throw and they win.
for sure. Yeah, I can definitely see this being a Lamar Jackson MVP year.
Yeah.
I was worried that you were going to say Mahomes there for a second. I was going to be
No.
like, F no.
No. All right. The next one, first coach to get fired. Uh
Ooh,
ChatGPT says, I think the first head coach to be fired this season will be Mike McDaniels of the Miami Dolphins.
valid.
Yeah.
Yeah, super valid. Yeah, I can definitely see that happening. If it gets off to a disastrous start, Tyreek Hill is not vibing. Looks like requests a trade. A-Chain if he gets injured,
Hmm.
Tua if he gets hurt. As well. Head injury stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, quite frankly, I think that this is regardless probably McDaniel's last season with the Dolphins. I don't think that this year will muster up to much for
Hmm.
the Dolphins.
You
What do you
think he
think?
only, yeah, I think if it's a bad start, which most likely it's gonna be because Tua's still questionable, um, he's not gonna last too long there. Um, yeah,
Hmm.
he's gonna get let go if they lose. But I was gonna ask you, um, if they have a good year, if they make the playoffs and say they make a nice run, you think he still has another year contract renewal or
I think so. I,
yeah.
I think that they added on because the expectations were so low and then he outperformed it. Um, because if you look back, obviously there's a reason as to why he got the job he has,
Hmm.
and he was an offensive guru. Again, not all coordinators deserve to be head coaches, and
Yeah.
can really make that happen. It's very rare when it does, but if he can get that offense clicking like he has in the past,
Hmm.
his first year, I think, was a good example of that, right? Or the year that he obtained Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
I feel like he could really. What was it? 2 seasons ago? I know it was a few seasons ago for Tyreek Hill,
Hmm.
but look what he did with Raheem Mostert. And
Yeah.
then that year that I think that was the same year that they put up 70 points in that one
Hmm.
game. Um, you know, he has the ability to get this team rolling, but
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know what kind of like brick wall he's run into.
Yeah.
Whether it's injuries, the depth of that team isn't very good.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's gotten a lot worse. So do I see them winning very much this season? No. But if they do, then yeah, I think that they got to extend him.
Hmm.
What do you
Okay.
think?
Yeah, I think if he makes the playoffs and they make a run, he'll get like a 2-year contract or maybe another year. Uh and then my last follow-up question. If he gets fired, you okay taking him back?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Get that trio back together. We already have Sala.
Yeah.
And then just get McDaniel back in there
Yeah.
with the team that we have now.
Hmm.
Because on the offensive end, we need to find a way to get Shanahan not calling so many plays.
Yep.
I'll be honest where you know he is the 49ers biggest kryptonite.
Hmm.
I'll be dead ass with that
Yeah.
because he gets pass happy late in games and it's like he coaches his way out of it. He gets
Yeah.
too fancy and it's obnoxious. So I think McDaniel will bring back the ability to kind of
Balance.
strategize and
Hmm.
balance a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Open
Yeah.
arms, John. Open
Yeah.
arms.
Open arms.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right. Next, any big trade predictions? Tyreek Hill gets traded from the Dolphins back to Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow. Back to KC.
That's what ChatGPT says.
Hmm.
I think it was a rumor last year, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Definitely. I think so. I think the Bills were also a rumor.
hmm.
That one would be really interesting and
Yeah.
would certainly,
Uh,
play well with that Super Bowl prediction.
yeah.
Um,
Josh Allen's arm, you just gotta let Tyreek run down and just Josh Allen just throw it out there and he'll catch it.
it would be insane. It would be
Yeah.
insane. But back to KC, I mean, Rashee Rice, 6 games. I
Hmm.
mean, I guess that's the big announcement too, is
Yeah.
Rashee Rice out for 6 games, which, but okay, NFL, good job.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Good job.
but as far as Tyreek Hill going back there, yeah, I feel like you've nailed the take, John. Hollywood Brown,
Not the guy.
he's nothing. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he's not the guy. So there's going to be wide receiver
Hmm.
needs, and maybe that is going to help Kelsey get back to where
Yeah.
he was previously.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see that happening. Do you think? I don't know. We've really engaged a lot with Kansas City fans, Sean. Do
Yeah.
you think that they would welcome back Tyreek Hill very nicely?
Um, I would say yes because I think the only way this happens is if they're losing a majority of these first six games without Rushy Rice.
Hmm.
Because that means that they can't do it with those other players, and they're going to need something more than Rasheed Rice to be able to make a run to make the playoffs, and that will be Tyreek Hill. Because Xavier Worthy is that speed demon, but if they can't do it with him, they need Tyreek because Tyreek is the guy. Tyreek has had that chemistry with that team. So I think they would welcome him back because they know this is the way to get back to that Super Bowl and
Sure.
give Kelsey the two rings instead of just, Josh Allen.
There you go. Yeah. Hey, good one.
Hmm.
Do you think that it's 3-3? They still make that deal?
Yeah.
That's probably like the lowest, like
Hmm.
3-3, 2-4
Hmm.
category. Yeah,
Yeah.
1-5, 0-6. I don't know.
Yeah. 0-6 maybe.
Yeah, Giants
They'll,
could
they'll,
beat
they'll
them.
win one.
The
Hey,
one
you
one.
never know.
That'll be
You
that
never
game.
know. Yeah.
You never know.
So, but yeah, we'll see. I could see it happening. I could see Tyreek Hill going to a team, but I could see it there because the NFL, if they're doing bad, they're gonna need some support, and Tyreek is the guy. He's still
Sure.
reliable.
Yeah, if it's
So,
not the Chiefs, it'll be another contender.
yeah. Next one, who will have a breakout year? If you have to lock in one true sleeper, my pick is Luke Musgrave, tight end with the Packers.
Oh, kind of random,
Mhm.
right?
Uh,
Second, third year tight end.
Second year, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Because Tucker Craft, is it Tucker Craft that's there?
Tucker Kraft.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think he's still there, right?
yeah, yeah. So
Hmm.
I think that's a team that just sort of needs to help Jordan Love, and the tight end position, I think, is what's going to help. The short check downs.
Hmm.
And Musgrave, I think he was always promising, just never really had that ability to perform. And hey, it could be a year. Josh Jacobs is going to be more of a factor. Matthew Golden got drafted there, so he's going to be a big name because
Hmm.
he's already, I think, scheduled to be starting wide receiver as a rookie.
Yeah, no, makes sense. Yeah, whatever weapons that they can get around Jordan Love have a bit of a comeback year.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, especially to kind of coincide that defense.
Yeah,
Tucker Kraft, yeah, no, wow. If you're bringing up names like that, I think ChatGPT does no ball.
it might. Yeah,
It's a good
one
deep
of its,
dive.
it is. It said, give us one bold prediction. All right, here's one bold prediction for the NFL season per ChatGPT. The Detroit Lions will make the Super Bowl.
Ooh, that's really bold. Losing two coordinators and still making the Super Bowl, doing something that they couldn't do with those coordinators.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's a bold prediction. I like it.
Yeah,
That's a very good bold prediction.
that's a very
You
bold.
have I think of course like any team, but more so with the Detroit Lions, it's going to
Mhm.
be health. If they can stay healthy, I think it makes all the difference.
Yeah, no, it does. So I think it's a very bold prediction, and then what I read from it, they'll make the Super Bowl. It doesn't mean they could win it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. And then last one per with this Chat GPT, give us something even bolder. Wildest bold prediction. Bill Belichick returns mid-season as head coach of a playoff contender.
Oh my gosh.
That's what ChatGPT is saying.
Was this before or after yesterday's game?
This was one day ago.
Okay. Yeah, no, because that debut of the North Carolina versus TCU was awful. Um, yeah, I don't know who wants him back. I think yesterday was like that extra like double stamp of Tom
Hmm.
Brady made your career, Bill. I'll say it.
Yeah,
I think he made Bill's career.
yeah.
Uh,
That's a very bold take. Like,
yeah.
who would it be? It would have to be the Dolphins. Still firing McDaniels early and then bringing Bill because that's still a promising team. They have the players to. possibly make a run. Is Bill really a
Mhm.
difference maker? That's what the question will be if that happens.
So they would probably have to fire McDaniels
Week two, three.
eh, week two really early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then Bill up and leaves
Mm-hmm.
um, North Carolina
Yeah.
mid-season and then goes down to Miami. That'd be pretty wild. I don't know if there's negotiating tactics that, or contract disputes that need to occur,
Yeah.
um, in lieu. But I mean, regardless, I think Jordan Hudson has it covered.
Yeah.
She's sideline mid-game talking to Bill.
Yeah.
She's totally involved. I think there's no obstacle in her way. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we'll see. That was a very bold prediction it gave. But
yeah, bold got bolder.
bold got bolder. But it looks like ChatGPT may know ball, so we'll see. We'll revisit this probably towards the end of the year. See
Yeah.
how well it did.
Let's see what happens. Lamar
Yeah.
Jackson MVP, Bill's Super Bowl win,
Mm-hmm.
and then Bill Belichick magically gets back to NFL coaching mid-season.
Yes.
Great. It's great.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
But
Good
yeah,
topic.
that's NFL. Yeah, not much more news. We mentioned Rashid Rice, 6 games instead of four, so it looks like the league is taking things into their own hand. I think that's fair. I don't think that's too much. I don't think it's too less. I think it's a good number to sort of just show other players too. Like I say, it might be, hit. It might suck for him, but it's like it's an example they have to set. Like you make a mistake like that in the league, you're gonna get in trouble.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And it sounds like they just settled prior to that September 30th date.
Hmm.
I think the original bar was set like 8 to 10 games.
Hmm.
They rebutted with four, I think it was. And then, they were like, okay, let's meet in between. Let's do
Yeah.
six. And, that way they didn't have to go to court and let this drag out longer.
Hmm.
So let's see what the Chiefs can do in the meantime
Yeah.
through those first 6 weeks. Um, yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. But yeah, and then yeah, don't really got much more NFL news. I think we're just waiting week one. But fantasy football, some fantasy football corner draft
Mhm.
recap. We had our draft this past weekend. Um, went
Yeah,
well,
we did.
fun time, 14-man league. We had everybody pretty much in person, so it was a fun time. Um,
Mhm.
and I think we came out with an awesome team, Tim.
I think we did too. Shall we recap it?
Yeah. So we'll go over our team, and then we can sort of I gotta find like the draft order, but at QB, we got Michael Penix Jr., and I think we got him what close to like second to last round,
Yeah, I think it was
or
second to last round.
second to
Third
last
to
round,
last round
third to
because then
last
we
round.
went kicker defense after that.
Yeah, yeah. I think everybody sort of saw we didn't pick up a QB, and everybody was colluding against us. The past champions. They didn't want us. um,
Great. All right, cool. Oh, wait, hold on. This is bullshit. The fix is
waiting until
Yeah.
late because I think we had who they take. I think it was Jordan Love was there, Dak Prescott,
Drake May.
Drake May. Like there are all these players that were still there in the 14-man league when you really don't need two quarterbacks. You sort of just fly when your quarterback goes on the bye week.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, it was sort of didn't
It was
make
very
sense.
interesting. All it took was
Yeah,
you going to the restroom, and
yeah,
then everybody was like, "All right,
yeah,
let's make a run at QBs." And then we had to wait, I think like something like 10 picks till it got
yeah,
back to us.
yeah,
And in that span, I think a solid
yeah.
4 or 5 quarterbacks
Yeah.
went.
So it was Drake May. So we picked him up in round 14. This is a 15 round
Oh,
league as
wow.
well.
Okay, yeah.
So Drake May went before Jared Goff
Hmm.
to let me go to round 13 because it also happened in 13. Dak, Jordan Love. So that's when it started. After our pick of Trey Harris, they just started taking these quarterbacks to mess with us. But still,
Mhm.
I like where we got him. I think Michael Penix could be he could have a Jaden Daniels type of season this year. You
I
know.
agree. I totally agree. I think a full season is what he's going to get now. He has great weapons on that
Mm-hmm.
team. Uh, so
Yeah,
yeah, a lot
yeah,
to capitalize on.
yeah. Michael Penix. So, and then our running backs, we got Caleb Johnson, Omarion Hampton. Hampton, I think, is going to be our good bright spot. Caleb Johnson, he's third, I think, on the depth chart. So we'll sort of see what Pittsburgh does. Jalen Warren, I honestly don't really have trust in him. He
Yeah,
did well, but wasn't that go-to guy. I think Caleb Johnson could be the guy. So I think if Warren doesn't get much out of, this first game against the Jets, Johnson's going to step in, and if Johnson can shine, he's going to win that starting job. Um,
agreed. Isn't it Kenneth Gainwell is the other one in the mix
yeah,
there? And
yeah,
both of them are like third down change of pace backs in my
hmm
opinion. So
yeah,
Caleb Johnson should
yeah,
be,
yeah,
you know, the bell cow.
yeah. And Gainwell's a smaller running back too, if you think about it.
Yeah, there you go.
So, those are our starting right now. Then we go to wide receiver. This is where we took one chance. Not CD. CD was our first pick. We were the ninth. Were we the ninth pick or the no? We were fifth.
Fifth.
Fifth pick. Hated the fifth pick, but we got
Yeah,
CD Lamb. Cowboys are going to be playing from behind every single game, so they're going to be throwing a
yep,
CD. So
definitely.
he'll be getting his touches. Then we picked up Garrett Wilson as our other starter. He fell to us, I think, pretty well. Let me see if I
Mhm.
could pick up where Wilson fell to us.
Third, fourth.
Could be, yeah, fourth round.
Mm,
So
that was pretty late, especially in a
yeah,
14 team.
in a 14-man league, like I say, he's the only guy on the Jets. Yes, people are saying they don't have a passing quarterback, but Fields, I think, is gonna take a step up this year, and he is gonna pass quite a bit more. He's still gonna run, he's still gonna get his, but Garrett
Hmm.
Wilson, he was doing it with the shittiest quarterbacks the last 2 years. I think
Yep,
he'll get it done with Justin Fields.
definitely. And, not a ton of optimism in that run game at the moment.
Hmm.
So I think that Wilson's going to have a better go with it this year
Hmm.
compared to others.
Yeah. So then our tight end, we got Brock Bowers. Uh, want to say he was our number two pick. Huh.
Yeah, he was.
He was our number two
And
pick.
a great one. Dude's going to be a stud
Yeah.
again.
Half point PPR league, so you get points for those receptions. It's a team that's going to be playing from behind, and Brock Bowers, I think, is going to be the guy. Like I say, I'm excited to see the Raiders. They got a better quarterback than what they've had before too,
Yep.
and Geno Smith. So I think he's going to have a great year.
Better
Then
coach,
better
scheme up
coach. Hmm.
plays for the tight end too. Yeah.
And now they have a running back in Genti to
Yep.
sort of take some of that pressure away.
Exactly.
Because if you're either gonna have to stop Genti or stop Bowers, and sometimes you got to stop the run game.
100%.
Yeah. So our flex position, the flex player we have right now, Emeka Egbuka. I've been high on this guy. He fell to us. We had to pull the trigger on him. This guy with my bold hot take of the year, where the Bucks are going to be in the Super Bowl, and Baker Mayfield's going to be an MVP QB. Emeka's going to take advantage of being the number two wide receiver there for some time until Godwin comes back from his injury. And by then, it might be too late.
Yeah, exactly. By then it might be too late. Nothing left to redeem because, yeah, Ibuka has had a great camp, and that's coming
Hmm.
from Baker. That's coming from the coordinators, head coach,
Hmm.
GM. Like everybody's saying, what a great
Yeah,
camp he's having. So, really excited to see what he can
yeah,
do this year.
yeah. And then our bench, we have Braylon Allen as a backup running back. I think, everybody knows we don't know what's happening in the Jets. Brees Hall, I think, still is the starter, but Braylon Allen last year showed up a lot, so he could be
Yep.
taking half those touches. So, committee.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think that out of any year, I think Brees Hall supposedly is feeling the heat the most this year.
Hmm.
So I think that Braylon Hall's right there.
Yeah. Then we have our next backup bench running back, Jaden Blue from the Dallas Cowboys. Uh, Javonte Williams, I think, is starter. I think was named starter, but the Broncos didn't trust in him when they're developing into an amazing team. Um, I don't think he's the guy. I don't think he's going to be the
Hmm.
guy in Dallas. I think Jaden Blue is going to be getting a lot more just points for us fantasy wise, as a running back. So, uh, we'll see it in the first game, I think.
Definitely. Yeah. No, I've seen a lot of chatter online that Jaden Blue, that people are saying that he's probably going to take over that backfield,
Hmm.
probably by week 3. I think it'll be pretty clear.
Yeah.
I hope that's the case. Certainly, we
Yeah.
need another complimentary back.
Hmm.
Caleb Johnson's obviously the other possibility, but yeah, let's see what he can turn into.
Yeah. Then we have some backup wide receivers, the rest of our bench. Luther Burden, the third wide receiver out of Chicago. That was a pretty late pick for us, but Chicago, same thing, playing from behind. DJ Moore, let's see if he could keep it up. I think we talked about Roma Dunze. It's going to be a
Hmm.
big year for him, and if it's not a big year for him, Luther Burden's going to step in. So I
Yep,
think this guy has a lot of opportunity.
for sure. Completely agree. He's that fun flyer, turning
Hmm.
into something good.
Yeah, and then we have Trey Harris, wide receiver, Chargers. McConkey, I think McConkey, if he would have fallen to us, and I don't think he fell to us in the second. I
He
think
went
someone
really
already,
early.
he went pretty early. Yeah, he went early in the second. A lot of the mock drafts I did, he was gonna fall to us. If he would have fallen to us, I would have taken him over Brock Bowers. But McConkey's gonna have a great year. But like I say, he's gonna get a lot of attention. Keenan Allen is back on the Chargers, but I think they still need to develop someone else because Keenan Allen isn't a long term person. So
Yep.
I think Trey Harris could be that guy. Um, Quentin Johnson has shown that he just
Who?
cannot touch the ball. You need to super glue those gloves or something, try
Yep.
to do the replacements of,
Get some
putting
stick 'em.
glue. Yep. But yeah, so Trey Harris, I think, could have a breakout year, because I think Justin Herbert's also going to be a contender for one of those MVP quarterbacks.
Agreed. Yeah, no, Trey Harris, I think he'll develop into the number 2 there. I think Keenan Allen, nobody else wanted him. Took a long time for the Chargers to
Mhm.
even sign him. I think that's pretty evident.
Yeah,
Of the case of, probably how they feel about him. I think Keenan Allen's going to be a decent piece there, but he's
yeah,
not going to be anywhere near what he did when he was
yeah.
an actual Charger before.
Hmm. Yeah. Then we picked up Travis Hunter. I like this pick. I
Yeah.
think, a lot of people were scared to pick him up. We picked him up. Let me see. Was it the fifth,
I think it was
maybe?
the fifth or
Fifth,
sixth.
fifth round.
Fifth. Yep.
Yeah. So,
It's a good spot for him.
I think it's a good spot for him. This is sort of, like I say, it's a 14-man league, so this is already the pick 61. So, in a 10-man league, you already have all your starting players. So, I think it's a good spot. I think he could have a great year because they're going to be playing from behind. He is, I think, number one. He's starting wide receiver, and I think he's a backup as a defensive back.
Hmm.
We don't get points for him for anything he does on defense, so like I said, made it fair. I wasn't gonna sneak that into people. Just change the rules.
That'd been
But there's
fun.
no points for anything he does defensively. That all goes to Jacksonville. But I think he could have a great year. I've always felt that might be his better position. So we'll sort of see what happens.
For sure. Yeah, he's not shy to double digit reception numbers either. He did that with Colorado. So,
Yeah.
and then you brought up a good point as far as when we were drafting him, Brian Thomas is going to draw all that attention. And
Hmm.
then, hopefully we'll leave Travis Hunter a bit more open,
Yeah.
more potential there. So hopefully he has a really good rookie season ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he will. So, but we'll see. Then our last bench player, Jawan Jennings. This was a late one for us as well. I think he's gone under the radar just because of his trade requests.
Mhm.
Not sure if he's going to start the year, but we picked him up. I'm trying to see exactly when we picked him up.
Really late. I feel like that was like a late round steal for us.
That
He
was the
lingered a
10th
long
round.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Went into 10th. Um, I know. Oh, I don't know if Fidel's still on. I know he was watching us right now, probably
Yeah, I saw that.
laughing at us. But we wouldn't have picked him up because our goal in that round was Ollie Gordon, and of course
Yeah,
Fidel had to
son of
take
a.
our guy.
Yep.
But so Juwan Jennings, I think, you know, Pearsall is going to make a step up, but I still don't think he's going to be that guy this year. And I think once Jennings comes back, he's going to be a big player. And then even when Ayuk comes back, I don't know what kind of Ayuk we're going to get. So I think Jennings at that position, it's going to be perfect. I think he's going to help us late in the season.
For sure. Yeah, especially with um Kendrick Bourne actually just did a visit this past weekend to the
Hmm.
Niners. I didn't even know he was cut, to be honest with you, from the
Oh,
Pats, but he was cut, made a trip to the Niners. Niners evidently offered him. He declined, went on to the next team. I think he's going to Commanders next. Let's
okay.
see if he does anything there. But Niners made an offer, didn't accept. I think that we're copacetic with what we
Hmm.
got. I think it's going to be a defense wins for this
Yeah.
thing, but no Ayuk for at least 5, 6 weeks, and
Yeah.
then you have Christian kind of easing back into
Hmm.
things. Kittle's obviously there, but Juwan
Yeah.
Jennings could be the guy, so
Hmm.
he could be a good flex spot.
Yeah.
In the first few weeks,
Yeah.
hopefully the whole year.
Yeah, he's gonna help us out later in the year for sure.
Hmm.
So that's our bench. Like I say, we only roll with what is it, 6 bench players, where normal leagues roll with 7, I think. So less bench means a lot more strategizing. And then our kicker, we picked up Tyler Loop. I think this might have been our last pick or second to last pick. Um, I always trust Baltimore kickers. Justin Tucker, before all his scandal, was one of the top kickers, even as a rookie. Tyler Loop has a leg on him. Watched
Yep.
him kicking, so I like it. And they're always going to be scoring or getting really close, because when they're in the red zone, they're going to put everybody there to stop Derrick Henry, stop Lamar Jackson. So if we need to, we got to kick field goals, and that's where we get those points with Loop.
Absolutely. No, I think it was a great late pick. Um, yeah, people went kickers decently early,
Yeah.
so yeah, Loop's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. And then our defense, this was our last pick. We picked the Eagles for this first
Yeah,
week. We'll be streaming our defense most likely based on matchup. They're playing the Cowboys. Um,
I like it.
Eagles are going to be high scoring. Cowboys could be high scoring, but this Eagles defense, I think it's a defense you can't really not look at. They're Super Bowl champs. So we'll see how they do this first week, but we could roll with him for quite a bit, but we will probably most likely stream or until someone drops a defense on a bye week, because you get desperate in a 14-man league with less bench spots. We don't have injured reserve spots, so you don't want to drop a player like CeeDee Lamb, who might be out for 3 weeks, or Omarion Hampton, Caleb Johnson. Like I say, not the starter, but not someone I'm gonna drop at all. So you're gonna have to
Right.
drop a defense to make up for that bye week, and that's where we sort of swoop up.
Exactly. No, that's where you come in for the steal, and that's where we've had topics of discussion with guys that chose two quarterbacks. It's like, oh,
Hmm.
you're really gonna hold him for
Yeah.
that one bye week.
Yeah.
Good luck. We'll take Michael Penix in the meantime.
Yep.
But yeah, good luck. And then, that's where we come in and, maybe look at other options kind of moving on. So
Hmm.
Drake May is probably going to be one of those, possibilities, but you name it, there's still decent waiver wire action
Yeah.
going on should Penix not take off, but I think Penix is going to be really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, right off the bat, Eagles defense is going to be
Hmm.
great. Divisional matchup.
Yeah.
Dak throws picks, and that's, Dak is a guy that we low key baited the league with. We are like, oh yeah, Dak's a thought. We were never thinking about picking Dak. Let's be
No.
honest. We, we
No.
we want nothing to do with the guy. He's gonna
No.
throw a crap ton of picks like always, and then yeah,
He's gonna have his points, but those picks are gonna hurt you in the long run in those
yep.
playoff games. So it's not worth it. So who has more upside? I think Penix does. Like if for some reason Penix doesn't, let me see who's available right now.
So
So right,
Rogers was in there.
yeah, Sam Darnold's there, Geno Smith,
Russell Wilson.
Stafford, Russell Wilson, Young,
Yeah.
T Law, Danny Dimes, like Joe Flacco. Look, there's my quarterback of the
Flacco.
future. Look at that. You
Yeah,
know.
we got it.
So like I said, there's a lot of options still, and like I say, someone's gonna drop one of these quarterbacks that have two players, especially if you're first week you lose, you're gonna have that high waiver wire priority, and if someone gets hurt, and you have that first pick, you're gonna drop the one useless player, and that's your second QB.
Exactly.
You know,
Yep.
so
Because it's there just kind of like tempting, like, oh, is this the week I put in Drake May over Patrick
mhm.
Mahomes? Or,
Yeah,
I put in whatchamacallit over whatever. And it's like, no, it's never the week. You're always going to stick with your stud quarterback or your
yeah,
first pick quarterback. And then the guy's just going to chill. It's going
yeah,
to happen. And then, you're going to
yeah,
get far into the season and be like, "Ah, I really should
yeah,
pick up the handcuff for
yeah.
my running back."
Yeah, because it's like one player. I'm not going to call the player the team out, but they have Lamar Jackson as a starter, Kirk Cousins on the bench. Why do you
Ah,
need Kirk Cousins?
there you
You
go.
know, what do you need
Oh
Kirk
man.
Cousins? Let's see who else has
We had
double
somebody
Q.
else draft Alexander Madison. That was
Yeah,
one that really was like, oh,
yeah. It's like it doesn't make a lot of sense. You know, some of these other ones, Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott. Okay, I get it. Brock Purdy system quarterback. We'll see what their wide receivers are, but who knows?
hmm,
Um, Joe Burrow, Jared Goff. When are you going to start Jared Goff over Joe Burrow?
exactly.
I don't think I would
Exactly. I
ever, you
think it was
know?
just a run. It was just a run,
Hmm.
and they weren't thinking but just nothing but effing around.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's okay because we swooped in on a better
Hmm.
defense, better kicker, and then what Michael Penix was still available. Totally
Hmm.
fine. I feel confident in Penix.
Yeah.
I'm happy he dropped that far.
Yeah. Yeah. He played well the last part half of the season last year once he took over for Cousins, and that's why Cousins was dropped, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't he cut?
No, no, was he? Was he officially cut?
Oh no, he isn't. He's
No, I
still
think he's just
back up.
backup. Which is kind of
Yeah,
surprising they're hanging out with him, but yeah, no, he's still there.
yeah. So that person, whoever has Cousins, you must really think Penix isn't the guy. But I tell you, you're wrong.
Yeah,
You know,
you're wrong. He's gonna be great. He's
he's
gonna
gonna
be
be
great.
good.
We're even pronouncing his name correctly.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not like that one fan said. I won't go there. Penix is our guy.
Yeah, Penix is the man. So I like our team. I know I've done a few other drafts, but this is our main league with our friends. So excited for Thursday.
Same. Can't. It's again Christmas morning feeling as we
Mhm.
head into football season here. So,
Yeah.
super excited. It's going to be a good first matchup as well. I'm excited for
Hmm.
that one.
Yeah. But yeah, that's our fantasy football corner. Like I say, every week we'll go over fantasy football. I'll try to clip it before, especially when we record on Mondays. I'll clip it, put it out on socials for you guys listening. If you're listening to us live, like I said, you get it here right in the moment. You can make your waiver wire picks, if you want to follow our guidelines, our thoughts. But we'll put it out there for everybody. But
Hmm.
that's anything else you have, Tim? I'm trying to think what else I saw this week.
I think that was the majority of everything. Just football's
Hmm.
back. College football got underway.
Yeah,
Texas, disappointing. Let's see what they can kind of turn into.
yeah.
Um, I will say that jerk off at the U.S. Open stealing that hat from that kid.
Oh yeah.
You're an a-hole.
And
Give the hat back to the kid.
yeah. Well, the
Um,
kid the kid ended up getting a hat, but it's like you're if you do that and you get caught, like either fess up to it, say you made a mistake because from what I'm hearing, and like I said, these are rumors. I don't know. I'm not talking bad. I'm not doing a bad review, but people are leaving bad reviews to his company, and he's sort of saying he's going to take legal action towards them. But it's like,
saw that.
it's crazy, to sort of take that and really not feel bad about it, saying,
Right.
it's that type of world where you just gotta be quick, and it's like, dude, you're a grown adult versus a kid, really?
Yeah. Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
it's wild. Yeah, shame on him.
Yeah.
Regardless, he can take anybody who wants to court. Doesn't excuse his actions. So,
Yeah. Oh, one thing I didn't send you this video, but have you seen the video of the LA Sparks practice against the guys?
yes, yes, against the guys, and
Yeah.
they match up pretty evenly.
They match up pretty evenly, but the one thing for me that those are like the Gold's Gyms basketball players.
LA
They're
Fitness, yeah, yeah,
LA
they are.
Fitness.
You're right.
Like it looks like it's us when we were playing ball a few years ago.
The guy running point in the reverse scrunches,
Yeah.
uh, look like us.
It
He's
like one of the guys, I was like, man, that looks just the way I did. Well, the same
yeah,
gear and everything. And
relatable.
I'm just like it.
Oh, dude.
I don't know what to think of it because, like I said, I'm not trying to make fun of the WNBA because I think it's great what they've done. But
Mhm.
man, just the way it looked, it just didn't look good at all for them.
It did not, and I don't know if you've seen back when Caitlin Clark was on Iowa, they did something similar with the
Oh
co-ed
yeah,
practices, and the men's went up. Much stiffer competition
yeah.
with those matchups
Mhm.
versus what the LA Sparks are
Yeah.
going against.
Yeah. Like I say, it's like they went to their LA Fitness across, the stadium and be like, all right,
Yeah.
U5, let's go. You know.
Right. Those are the applications where like everybody applied. What was that? Maybe like 8 months ago.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right. And then they look at that, the
Uh,
guy who looks like us, average Joe,
uh,
that guy,
yeah.
big body, get him in there running the
Uh,
point, but not too much height.
yeah.
That's our guy. Yeah,
I'm like, man, like I say, I hate to see it because, like I say, it hurts the integrity of what they're trying to build. Um, Rumor has it, from what I've been reading, it's going into a lockout season.
Yep.
Sounds like they're not willing to settle with what they're been given, and we can sort of discuss it more. I want to read into it a little more before I start spitting out these facts that I read really quickly. But it's looking that way, even though there have been offers on the table for them.
Yeah, no, definitely. Maybe we can do some more reading into it, especially as it
Mhm.
becomes a more prevalent topic
Yeah.
heading into next season. And obviously, they have their slogan, pay us what we
Hmm.
deserve.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I mean it's not a good thing. You don't want to see this right when they're starting to
Yeah.
skyrocket.
Yeah. They're
So
starting to do good things, so we'll see. But yeah, that's all I really got.
yeah. No, good amount of time that we discussed those topics regardless.
Mhm.
And, next week, as Sean mentioned, we're going to have, our fantasy waiver wire, pickups. We're going to have the fantasy corner topics, see how we did week one.
Mhm.
Uh, it'll have just wrapped up with Monday Night Football by the time that we record again.
Yeah.
Of course, recap of NFL week. And then, maybe we'll dive more into Are You My First next
Mhm.
week. I know that's something that we'll get
Uh,
back on. I did
Yeah.
watch another episode. That's as
Okay.
far as I made is two episodes.
I'm at
Um,
I'm at
yeah.
episode 8.5.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah, you're really
It,
far
it
along.
gets it
I
gets
need to catch
interesting.
up. Okay, I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
No, it's good. It's already getting interesting after
hmm
2 weeks. So,
hmm
or two episodes. So, yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. No, but thank you everybody listening on our live, everybody that logs on. We're building something here with Banter on the Rocks. We appreciate everybody that supported us since day one, even if you've come in just the last few episodes. Thank you. Please engage with us, comment with us, share with your friends, especially when it's fun topics you enjoy, or even if it's these banter takes you really hate and you just want to talk smack about what we're saying, share it with those people that probably agree with you. We're okay with it.
Hmm.
But hit that subscribe button on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and even on our socials. We got our TikToks, we got our Instagram. And just let us know. Like I said, we're here for the banter.
Yeah, no, if you like, the old written rules of baseball and want us to get off your lawn with our takes about steroids, let us know. We can take it.
Yes, we can.
That's exactly what we're here for. Hence,
Yeah,
banter on the rocks.
banter
So,
on the rocks.
thank you all so much for always listening, tuning in, giving your
Yes.
feedback, and giving us a chance. So, thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week. Enjoy football. Football's back.
It's back.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Peace.